Yo, everybody, it is Wednesday, January 8th, and I'm sure, like most of you, my thoughts are with the people in LA and the unbelievable fires and devastation. Nobody has ever seen anything like that. I mean, it looks like nuclear bombs were set off. It's just unfathomable devastation. I'm looking at the images. If any of you are out there, my thoughts and prayers are going to you. Be safe. Physical property can always be replaced. You got to take care of your family, take care of your animals, your pets. I cannot believe it, man. It is horrific. What a terrible, terrible thing. And I feel bad for California, man. I love California, as you know, probably. I was living out there last year. I'm in Florida now. We get hurricanes and they're pretty awful too. But I'm just looking at those images and horrific, unbelievable. My son is out there. He lives in Hollywood, though. He's safe with his wife and my grandkids, but just incredible, unbelievable. Anyway, and by the way, this is gonna. I'm trying to process all this now from an economic perspective. It's a little bit early, but California is economically like a major country. It's something like the fourth largest economy in the world, something like that. Los Angeles is a major economic center. This is going to shut things down. I don't want to take a tragedy and right away, put my economist mask on, but, I have to think about this. There's going to be hundreds of billions, if not more, in property damage and all kinds of, it's going to take, in some cases, it might take years to replace everything that's been destroyed. I don't know what the federal government reaction is going to be. I'm sure Trump and Congress are going to, come up with resources and funds eventually. But this whole thing, first they got to stop the fires. From what I understand, it's still like 0% contained. The hydrants are running out of water. I think finally they were able to bring in some of these firefighting aircraft that scoop up water from the ocean and drop it. They weren't able to do that earlier because of the winds. Now I think they're doing that. But from what I understand, it's still spreading. Today we had a little bit of a bounce in the market. Let me transition now, even though I'm not even thinking about this stuff, to be honest with you, but let me transition. We had a little bit of a bounce in the market. Today was a Social Security payment day. That's it. That's the peak in this month's cycle, because next Wednesday, even that's the 15th, even though we will get another Social Security payment day next Wednesday, that's a tax drain. And the market's been churning in here, and I've been telling you guys that we've had very strong fiscal, but the market's been churning. We still have this deeply negative perspective on the bonds because of inflation. I got to talk a little bit more about this inflation stuff, because the Fed minutes came out today from its last meeting in December. And all these guys on the FOMC, this pisses me off. I have to be honest. And I think most of you probably are picking up on my ire, my anger over the last couple of videos that I made about the Fed and Powell and the FOMC, who are projecting, all this inflation hysteria, when we don't even know the policies that are going to be enacted yet. There's things that are being talked about. Yes, Trump wants to do tax cuts, but the Congress wants to make this, kind of a pay-as-you-go thing. So the tax cuts are going to have to be offset, so that they're saying there's no increase in the deficit. So it's going to basically be neutral. But Powell and his buddies It looks like to me, because in the Fed minutes, they were all universally, oh, this is Trump's policies are going to create inflation. We don't even know what policies are going to pass yet, and they're already projecting that. For me, it looks like these guys are running cover for these idiot hedge fund guys like Paul Tudor Jones and fucking Drunkenheimer and Gundlach. Like Powell, it shouldn't be doing this. This is the height. This is why I hate when this whole concept of Fed transparency, because these guys don't know anything. They don't even know the impact of their own monetary policy decisions. Okay, they're still raising interest rates in this stupid, ridiculous idea that somehow that squashes inflation. When you look all over the world, Argentina, freaking Turkey, all these countries that have been raising interest rates, and the only thing that happens is that inflation goes higher. And they stick with their mythology. They stick with their backward paradigm. They double down on it. They triple down on it. The evidence in front of them could, bite their noses off. They don't pay any attention to it. You had Japan during the entire COVID situation when there was real inflation because the global supply chain was shut down, okay? Japan at negative interest rates, barely had any inflation whatsoever. Then they raised the interest rates by a little bit, and guess what? The inflation is coming back to Japan now. I think one of the worst things that Congress ever did was the Humphrey Hawkins Act back in 1978, which, by the way, was signed into law by Jimmy Carter, one of the worst president we ever had. And they're shutting down the stock market to honor this guy tomorrow who embraced freaking terrorists and dictators all over the world. But don't get me started on that. The Humphrey Hawkins Act, basically, Congress just kind of punted the responsibility of regulating the economy onto the Fed, which has no tools or effective tools to do this. It has one tool, which is the Fed was not created in 1913. The Federal Reserve Act was not created to regulate the economy. Okay, it was like a lender of last resort and a regulator of the financial system, a regulator of the banking system. But the Humphrey Hawkins Act of 1978, there's a clause in there, or there's an item in there that says the Fed chairman is going to have to be responsible for the president's economic policy. And ever since then, Congress kind of, unless there's a freaking disaster that we have to wait for, every few years, then maybe there's going to be a response by Congress. But unless that happens, Congress is like, okay, you handle it, Fed. They have no tools to handle it. They don't even understand their own monetary policy and the impact of that. And it's just, I look at this and it's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. So, yeah, that's what the minutes said. They were all like, oh my God, inflation because of Trump's policies. We don't even know. This is what I've been saying. I keep telling you guys, let's wait and see what the actual policies are. And then we could analyze or come up with a projection of what the impact is going to be to the economy from the fiscal flows. Well, you got to wait for that. We don't know right now. We do not know right now, but these guys already jumped the gun and made it political, obviously, because it's like, oh, Trump's policy, so they're going to be inflationary. This is absolutely outrageous, okay? So yeah, I'm pissed off about this. I think it's ridiculous. Next week, tax train. We have a quarterly interest payment coming up in mid-February. But as of today, the flows for this month have peaked. Okay? So market's going to be under pressure, all right, going into next Wednesday, all the way into when we get first of the month payments on February 1st. Okay, I don't know what day that falls on, if that's a weekday or a weekend, but February 1st, when we get first of the month payments, we should recover most of the tax drain of next week. But we peaked today. Okay, I think this rally today, and by the way, the NASDAQ did not rally, it closed down. Let me just mention too, in the EIA petroleum status report that came out today, again, big increases in gasoline and distillate inventories, although they're still down year over year, but we've had some big increases in product inventories. Exports have slowed down. By the way, the export situation of crude and petroleum products, that factors into the dollar, okay? So like, if we see but if we see this kind of low level of petroleum exports, look for a correction in the dollar. The dollar's been very strong. I like, there's a good correlation between U.S. petroleum net exports and the dollar's trend, okay? And to me, it looks like net exports now are kind of plateauing out. The dollar might be plateauing out too. I don't think the dollar is in jeopardy longer term, although I have to repeat that I'm going to be closely watching what Trump wants to do with this so-called national Bitcoin reserve. That potentially has huge implications for the dollar's longer-term trend. But again, we don't know yet. I'm not jumping the gun. I don't know yet. They're going to tell me, just like they're going to tell you. He's going to tell everybody what they're going to do. Then we can strategize. All right? That's it for today, folks. Again, all of you out there in LA, my thoughts and prayers out to you guys. Please stay safe. Physical property can be replaced. Lives cannot be replaced. Thinking about you guys. Please like and subscribe and go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. See you tomorrow. Hang in there, LA.